Hello everybody, my name is James, hope you're doing well and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to be talking about a new twist in the driver market, as well as more on McLaren. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Formula 1 content. Also make sure to follow me on X at James's Pit Lane, I'll leave a link in the description. But let's jump straight into the video. So let's start with Mercedes, who have reportedly shown interest in signing Sergio Perez. Now, as we all know with Perez, he was dropped by Red Bull at the end of 2024, but he is interested in returning to the Formula 1 grid if he likes the project. And it has been reported that he's held advanced talks with Cadillac, which is going to be the 11th team on the grid in 2026. It's also been reported that Alpine have had initial interest on Perez, and I've spoken about that in another video, and if you want to see that, I'll leave a link to it in the description. But now motorsport.com say that Mercedes have also shown interest in Perez. Now, according to motorsport.com, Mercedes team boss Toto Wolff has shown sympathy in the past for Perez, highlighting his work in development, but also as a loyal teammate. And as we know with Perez, he did a good job in some of his years with Red Bull. You know, in 2021, he really did help Max Verstappen as Verstappen fought for the title. In 2022 and 2023, he helped Red Bull win the Constructors, and in 2023, he finished second in the Drivers' Championship, meaning Red Bull had a 1-2. And even though his performances did start to drop, he has shown what he can do in a top team. But the situation with Mercedes isn't a simple one. Firstly, you've got George Russell and Kimi Antonelli there, and secondly, Wolff has shown admiration for Verstappen and in the past has made no secret about his desire to sign Verstappen. While that interest in Verstappen seems to have cooled down a bit now, who knows what will happen if Verstappen decides he doesn't want to see out his contract with Red Bull until 2028. But motorsport.com say that it's understood that if Verstappen does not see out his contract with Red Bull team boss Christian Horner has examined the option of Russell as a possible replacement, and that would leave a seat vacant at Mercedes. And motorsport.com say that Wolff would be interested in Perez's services to become Andrea Kimi Antonelli's teammate. So a very interesting situation, but at the same time, there's going to have to be a lot of moving parts, I think, for Perez to be a Mercedes driver, and I still firmly believe that he will be a Cadillac driver in 2026, but we'll see. But let's move on to McLaren, with more being said about a tyre allegation that was made against the team. Now, as we know, McLaren are the team to beat in 2025, and rival teams have been trying to work out exactly where its advantage is coming from. And as we know, McLaren are really good on their tyres. They're really good at keeping them cool, looking after them, managing them. And rivals are trying to figure out how McLaren are able to keep their tyre temperatures so good and so under control. Now, as we know, McLaren started to be much more competitive from the Miami Grand Prix in 2024, and in that year won the Constructors' Championship. And as that season went on, allegations came out about McLaren's tyres and what they were doing with them, with the race saying that Red Bull grew increasingly suspicious about where McLaren's improved performance had come from, and this included a theory that McLaren was adding water to its tyres, and the FIA was prompted to look into the matter at last year's Brazilian Grand Prix, although a detailed analysis by the governing body, which included discussions with tyre supplier Perez, found no indication of wrongdoing. And during the Miami Grand Prix in 2025, McLaren CEO Zak Brown had a water bottle which had written on it tyre water, just to make fun of the situation. And speaking on Sky F1's The F1 Show podcast, former F1 driver Martin Brundle stressed how the historic tyre water allegations simply do not add up. He said, as quoted by Planet F1, "All I know is that I spent all my career hoping that we didn't have any condensation in the tyres, because you just lose control of the tyre pressure at that point. Putting water in makes no sense. It would just turn into steam instantly anyway. Pressures would career out of control. McLaren have, with their geometry, with their cooling, whatever they're doing, they're keeping their tyres intact better than anybody else." And Bernie Collins, who's McLaren's former lead performance engineer and Aston Martin's ex-strategy chief, went on to say, "I totally agree with Martin. If people understood the lengths that teams go to get moisture out of the tyres, this story would be, it's quite funny actually. But I think there's hundreds of ways to cool tyres, cool brakes. If you run the brakes at a slightly different temperature, the tyre instantly runs at a slightly different temperature. If you run a slightly different contact patch, the tyre runs at a different temperature. There's hundreds of methods of doing it. It'll not be straightforward. It's the whole package." And one of the things that we've seen this week, McLaren having this advantage in the conditions that we had in Miami, if they have a slightly hotter race and they can run a few tenths of every lap, then you're managing your tyres a lot better. So there's a whole host of things that go together to get this solution. But that's going to be the video from me today. Thank you ever so much for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos, and until the next one, take care.